Started. Hello, everybody. My name is Matt Ward, one with the Vacation Rental Life, and you are watching episode 2 of the Expert Spotlight series. Our guest today is Wendy Bixby. She's a vacation rental content marketing specialist. Wendy helps vacation rental managers get more direct bookings through content marketing, social media management, and she prefers to work with vacation rental owners who are dynamic, forward-thinking, and understand the importance of online marketing. Additionally, she likes to work with owners and managers who don't want to put all their eggs in the OTA basket. Please join me in welcoming Wendy Bixby. Welcome to the show.
Yay.
All right, so a couple quick housekeeping things for our attendees. Please note that there is a chat. I don't necessarily, you're welcome to engage in the chat, but just remember that Wendy and I are going to be having a conversation here. My goal is to ask the questions that I think that you want to know, but the only way I know that you want to know them is for you to hit the Q&A button. And as our young millennials love to say, smash the Q&A button because that's going to get your question asked. So the Q&A button holds the questions for us in a queue and we won't lose them, unlike the chat. So please make sure you check out the Q&A button. If you haven't already, we want to make sure that you're joining us in our Facebook group, and you can check that out at facebook.com/groups/vacation rental life. And so we're Vacation Rental Life on every channel. Subscribe to our YouTube. Our replays are there as well. So that's what we're all about, and let's get right into it, Wendy. So tell me what the biggest problem in the vacation rental space is as it comes to social media.
I think that, I think for what I see anyway, with most vacation rental managers is they're kind of a jack of all trades kind of thing. So you're wearing a bunch of different hats. And the social media, sort of like the digital marketing hat, it gets kind of pushed to the side a little bit. There's not a whole lot of consistency I see with if you don't have a dedicated team member to do your social media or your online marketing, it gets sort of kind of just, it's just something you kind of do on the side, and it's just this annoying little gnat in your ear. So I think lack of consistency is probably the biggest thing that I see with social media, with vacation rental managers. What will happen is vacation rental managers will be like, okay, they'll go to a conference or something and they'll see how amazing social media is and they'll get all pumped up to do it. And they'll assign like somebody in accounting to post on social media, Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something. And they'll do that for 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe they'll write a blog post, and then they look at their analytics and like nothing, the needle hasn't really moved. So they kind of go, ugh. And then it just, something happens, a toilet gets clogged and a guest wants a refund, and then the social media just sort of goes away again. So I think lack of consistency is probably the biggest problem that
we use the word manager interchangeably here in our group because owners or managers, so we're focused on that market of owners that are 1 to 5 properties, right? And so mostly what we're finding is, with exception of maybe the cleaning, people are doing all the management themselves, right? They're dealing with the OTAs, they're dealing with the bookings, they're then going out and getting, if they're doing it right, they're getting additional agreements signed. And so it would seem to me that social media is something people probably like to do. It's fun, but they don't see a direct ROI on the bookings from that. Right. And so because they don't, they let it drop off. Right. Is that the real challenge, is they're not seeing the ROI?
Yeah, and I think they want an immediate ROI, and social media isn't always immediate on the ROI. I mean, depending on your audience, it does take some strategy. You have to know some little ins and outs, which I'm hoping we're going to talk about today. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of helpful to know that stuff. And if you don't know that stuff, if you're just kind of going on like you would when you're, talking to grandma on Facebook, it's not really going to work. And if you're not really doing it consistently, I would say at least giving it 2 to 3 months to really kind of start to play out so you can actually see some return on it. If you're just doing it for a few weeks and going, it's not doing anything. I think that's probably a problem.
Okay. So we got a question that was emailed in from Linda Nealon, one of our Facebook group members, and she asked what content turns into bookings.
Yeah. I guess it depends on the platforms. So I do want to talk about the different platforms, but we'll just talk about the big one right now. We'll just talk about Facebook. So Facebook is the one you kind of have to do it. If it's the one platform, if I only could choose one platform for vacation rental managers, I would choose Facebook.
No, let me stop you there. Why?
Because your audience is there. The demographic for vacation rentals, like the majority of vacation rental managers are women, ages about 35 to 48, I think the demo is, or whatever. That's like the perfect Facebook, like perfect storm. Like that's where they are. You know, it's a bit of an older demographic. I know millennials are kind of getting into the vacation rental thing now too, but it's just the perfect demographic for Facebook. And also Facebook has the links that you want that will generate bookings. A couple of the other platforms, it's a little bit harder to sort of link to your website to generate a booking, whereas Facebook, it's just right there. Post a picture of a house, a link to that house, and boom, you're on the website and you're in the booking platform like that, which is really what you want. And that's where the audience is.
So when we talk about Linda's question about what content turns into bookings, what have you found, you know, as far as producing the content itself that's going to generate enough interest to get the click, to get the direct booking? Yeah. What are you seeing with that?
So with Facebook, generally as a rule, I have like an 80-20 rule, or I call it like the 3-1 combo as well, works the best. Another big mistake that I see, I just want to touch on this really briefly. A lot of vacation rental managers will go on Facebook and they will only post their homes. And they just post their homes over and over again. And it's just photos of the homes and here, click here to book. And Facebook is, you know, people go on there to be entertained and informed. So you want about 70 or 80% of your content to actually just be interesting posts about your area.
Yeah, because am I unique in thinking that people aren't coming to my house or renting my house to stay at my house? I mean, I don't have a Star Wars house. I don't have a Disney house. I don't have a house that's themed. I don't have a lazy river around my house, right? I'm not on an island, right? So people aren't coming to stay at my house because it's my house, right? They're coming to do other things. They're coming to the area for other things. Shouldn't we entertain them and give them all these things to do as part of our social media strategy so that if those things are then branded from our page, from our posts, from our pictures, then they're more likely to choose us when they book a stay, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You want to be the authority in your area first, and then you want to be a vacation rental manager second. I know it sounds so strange, but you really want to be that sort of that person that everybody goes to when they're like, oh, Lake Tahoe. Oh, cool. Like this, you know, this place knows all about Lake Tahoe, and oh, check it out. They actually have homes we can rent too. That's what you want. People just, you know, you don't want to be boring, which, you know, it's social media. We go on there to kind of be entertained and, like I said, informed. So you don't want to be boring. And if you're just pushing your homes all the time, that is boring, capital B.
Yeah, capital B for sure. So that comes back to the other question that Linda was asking, which is what is the most popular content for Facebook and Instagram? She mixed the two platforms there. We'll talk about Instagram in a second, but obviously she's got a unique word in this question, which is popular, right? I would think the things to do would be popular.
Yeah.
Swimming with the dolphins or whatever, you know?
Yeah, or just highlighting, you know, places in your area. I have a place that I work for in Tennessee, you know, and we just share posts from, you know, they're around Dollywood. So we share a lot of posts about Dollywood, you know, just sort of kind of piggybacking on that, sort of being that sort of information for the area. And then I always say short and sweet is best with the text of the posts, you know, just keep it short and light and funny. I like to have one person that posts, particularly on Facebook, even though you kind of want, some people have 2 or 3 admins, it can get a little squirrely. So you kind of want to have one voice. You want to make it conversational, fun, entertaining, informative. You know, it's social media and you're on a computer or a cell phone, but you're still trying to connect with a person as well. So
Right. So folks who are joining us here on the live webinar, if you're watching the replay, sorry, you can't ask a question, but if you're on the live webinar right now, make sure you hit the Q&A button and ask your questions. We're going to dig into platforms right now. Let's talk about platforms, and there's all over the map. I know that Ronnie Bartles and I have had this back and forth about Pinterest, and she says people are using Pinterest to plan, you know, their vacations. They're using it like pin boards and things like that, and might be a great place to be. How does a person know what platform to pick for their property?
I think if you're a vacation rental manager, I have 3, and the other ones, I mean, I can tell you the reasons why. You should probably not even really take a look at them. But so the first one we already talked about is Facebook. If you're just going to do one, you have to do it. I would say post a minimum of 3 times a week, and then you don't really have to get into the whole, I know people are intimidated by Facebook ads. You know, they're kind of confusing about what you can write and what you can't write, and sometimes you get banned and blah, blah, blah. What I find is best is just when you do focus on a property that you want to promote, just boost that post, throw 20, 30 bucks at it, and you'll be kind of shocked at the volume that you will get from that post. So Facebook is number 1. Number 2 is Pinterest. And Pinterest
I lost the bet.
Number 2 is Pinterest. If I was going to only do 2 platforms, I'd do Facebook and Pinterest. And Pinterest is not social media. I'm going to say that again. Pinterest is not social media. Pinterest, the reason why it works so well is it is a search engine, and it is a fun search engine. And I heard this the other day that Pinterest is actually like if Google and Instagram had a baby, it would be Pinterest. I love that. But it's just this great sort of, I mean, it's $1 billion publicly traded company, but it's unsaturated. You know, like Google, trying to rank on Google can sometimes feel like slogging through mud sometimes. Ranking on Pinterest, like if you know some little shortcuts and some little things to do, it can really lift you up, and it kind of levels the playing field as well. And I love Pinterest because a couple of reasons. The demographic that we're going for, that sort of middle-aged woman that rents vacation rentals, she is all about Pinterest. That's actually me too. The demographic that we're looking for is me. So she loves Pinterest. The number 1 searched topic on Pinterest is travel. And the number 2 topic searched on Pinterest is home design. I mean, come on. That's like perfectly matched for vacation rentals. It's just flawless. It's like they made this platform for vacation rentals, and you gotta be on there. It's amazing. You'll kind of be shocked at the amount of eyeballs you can get on your website from Pinterest if you do it right.
That's awesome. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit more about Pinterest, but what's the third one?
So Instagram is the third one. And it's honestly like, it's like Facebook, Pinterest, and then Instagram is like down here.
So you really believe like if you're going to do anything, do Facebook and Pinterest, like right off the bat.
Yeah, 1, 2, like those would be my ones. Instagram, I do think it needs to be in there. But the thing about Instagram that I've never really liked for bookings, because the whole point of this is we're trying to get bookings. The thing about Instagram is it's tough to include a link. Like if you're just doing standard posts, you can't put the link in the post. You have to add it to your bio. So you have to say, and I'm sure you've seen this before on Instagram, it says, you know, blah, 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 link in bio to book, you know, I mean, it's like, so people have to take like 2 or 3 extra steps to book with you, which I don't really like. You can actually do swipe up links and stories now, but there's a couple of different hoops you have to jump through in order to be able to do that. And now there's IGTV, and you have to post videos of at least a minute or more. I mean, there's all these like red tape stuff that you have to kind of get through in order to get somebody to book with you. So I don't really like it. And I don't see a ton of return for bookings. But what I do see with Instagram is it can instantly make you that authority in your area. So a lot of people, you know, if they go on your website to book a house and you have your little social media links down there, you do kind of want that Instagram there because you want those glamour shots of your houses and the area on there. But I don't use Instagram for bookings. It's just not quite what you want. And sorry, my cat is trying to get in on the video.
That's funny.
Yeah,
All right, so
in COVID times.
now regarding Pinterest, I think Karen Griffin asked a fantastic question. Is do you set up the Pinterest account specific to the property, the management company, or yourself?
I think if you had one home, I would set it up for the home, obviously, and just have a Pinterest account for that home. Say you have like 4 or 5 houses.
Yeah.
I would set up Jesus, having cats and phone calls and everything. Sorry. If you had 4 or 5 properties, I would probably set up a Pinterest page and then just do have separate sections for each individual house, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm going to come at this angle from a business management and growth standpoint. If you have a house that you're envisioning on selling and you want to sell it as a brand, make sure that your Pinterest account can go with the brand, right? So you need to be thinking about the long-term sale of that house. If you sell it just as a piece of real estate, then it doesn't need the Pinterest brand. But if you're selling it turnkey to another investor in the vacation rental space, fully furnished, Facebook page goes with it, your Twitter page goes with it, your this page got right, all the listings and everything go with it, then you want to think about that as well.
Interesting. Yeah.
Patricia Moore would like your opinion about LinkedIn. What do you think about LinkedIn when it comes to vacation rentals and bookings?
Yeah. So I love LinkedIn for myself.
Oh, that's where we met.
Yeah, I know. LinkedIn is a B2B platform. So it's a business to business platform, like period, end of story. So for businesses like myself that want to cater to vacation rental managers, it's absolutely perfect. And honestly, for my personal business, it's like the only platform that I use. It's the only platform that gets me any sort of traction. But vacation rental managers, you guys are B2C. So you're business to customer businesses. LinkedIn is not for B2C. It never has been, it never will be. I see vacation rental management companies posting, you know, photos of their properties, kind of like pimping out their properties on LinkedIn, and nobody's even really looking at them.
This is all I do when I see that. And I see it all the time. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me, right?
Why? It's such a waste of time. Like,
I think it's because people don't really know how social media works or what they're supposed to be doing with it, right? And so what they do is they go and they get a property. For instance, I just had somebody send me a LinkedIn connection request, and their name was their property name, and I wouldn't accept it. So I don't accept any. Same thing goes with Facebook. If you create a Facebook page, the page should be in your business name. But your personal account should not be a brand account. It should be you. So if you send me a Facebook friend request and it's like, you know, the name of your property, I'm not going to accept it. And a lot of times you can't even join groups that way. So, you know, let's talk a little bit about the time commitment on this, because social media can be a total time suck.
Can I say one more thing about LinkedIn? Yeah. The only thing I do want to say about LinkedIn that would work for vacation rental managers, and I have used it before in the past, is when you're a vacation rental manager and you're looking to increase your inventory. So you're it's like a vacation rental manager page, and you want to sort of advertise yourself as the authority property management company in that area, and you want to grow your inventory. That would be the only time that I would use it. And once again, it's a B2B thing. You're a property manager and you're looking for homeowners to become part of your inventory. That's the only time that LinkedIn would work for a vacation rental management company.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's talk about the timing, because social media can be a total time suck. We fall into these rabbit holes of LinkedIn or Facebook, Instagram. We love the pictures, and I don't know what boards we'll create on Pinterest. But Next thing you know, you look up from your computer and you spent an hour and a half there. And sometimes you feel like you got nothing done. There's no results. There's no ROI. How do we ensure that we're spending the right amount of time on this and not wasting a bunch of time and making sure we're still getting results from it?
Right. The simple thing is to just to sort of give yourself, kind of put it in your calendar that you give yourself a half an hour a day to do it. That's usually what I spend to do posts for, like, some of my clients. Say I'll do a minimum of 3 posts a week. And I'll usually spend, it depends. Sometimes the posts just flow right out, and you just have that content there that's ready to go. And other times it's like, it kind of takes a while to find the right thing to post. So I would say 30 to 45 minutes a day would be like the maximum that I would do, particularly if I was wearing a lot of hats, like we talked about in the beginning, where I'm doing a lot of other stuff. But just sort of setting that time to do it. Usually like a quiet time in the morning is good to do. Usually by the end of the day, it's a little, you're kind of a little distracted. And the hard thing about posting on social media is there's all this other stuff to look at when you're posting. So you kind of have to just really put the blinders on and just focus on your post. And you can also use little tricks, like some people say, like, okay, I'm going to go on Instagram and I'm going to make a post and I'm not looking at anything else until my post is completed and published. And then I can kind of scroll and get lost down the rabbit hole. So
let's talk about tips and tricks and tools. What tools do you recommend that vacation rental owners use to either streamline their time commitment or create great content?
Yeah, there's a couple different like platform tools that you can use, like Hootsuite's a good one. I think SmartQ is a good one too. As a social media manager, this is really weird, but I actually don't like those tools. Mm-hmm. I just think that social media, it's a human thing. It's just a connection that you're looking to make with people, particularly people that are looking to rent your homes. You want that sort of face-to-face, as face-to-face as you can get on a computer. And I feel like those things like SmartQ and Hootsuite, although you can do it all at once on, say, a Sunday night, by the time your scheduled post is posting on Friday, it could be outdated. It feels a little dry. It feels canned. I don't particularly like those like scheduling.
So how far in advance are you scheduling?
So I'm usually scheduling like 1 or 2 days out max.
Okay.
And I like
keeps it really fresh then.
Yeah, and I kind of like to keep it, like when you wake up in the morning, it's like the day something happens, like something happens in the news lately or
right.
Whatever. The atmosphere is changing so much that I like to be sort of present and actually, I don't know, I feel like people can tell when you're just sort of canning a post on a Sunday night and it's showing up on a Friday. It just, I don't know, it falls flat for me. I can spot it a mile away, and I'm sure other people can too. So
yeah. So, what about imagery, right? Because I know for me, I've used Canva a lot. I love that tool. It's got a free version, and about what you like Canva it too.
What a great program, man.
Yeah, so if anybody isn't familiar with this, it's canva.com, and it's a great tool. It's free to use. You can also buy the premium version. I create a lot of posts both for my rental and also many of my businesses. Basically, I create the designs there because I have no design skills. So it's a design tool. It's a web-based design tool. Is that something you're using? Are there other tools that you use? And what about images?
Yeah. So Instagram is the big one for the glamour shots. So I say I use Canva for Instagram a lot, just to kind of design the posts, make them a little prettier for the, you want your whole Instagram page to be really kind of pretty and cohesive. So yeah, I do use Canva for Instagram. I use it for Pinterest as well. Pinterest is a good one to use it on. I don't quite use it for Facebook that much though. Facebook is mostly the captions with the image under it, usually has better performing than an image with like text on it. If that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah. Couple questions here. Is there a time of day that you want your post to be scheduled. I keep posting at 11 p.m. Pacific, and I know that's probably not ideal. It's not scheduled, obviously. I'm just posting it live, she says.
Right.
So this is from
Yeah.
Janet Bishop. So
Yeah, 11 p.m. is 2 a.m. for me, so chances of me seeing that are pretty slim. Um, so I like to mix it up, just like I said, with the Hootsuite and the Smart Queue thing, like the whole feeling of that it's canned. I like to mix it up. I post early in the morning sometimes. I post in the afternoon sometimes. Sometimes Friday afternoon is a good time to post, or Sunday morning is a good time to post. It's just when people are scrolling through. I try not to pay too much attention to the time. I try not to do it too late, obviously, because you don't want to kind of come in when everybody's sleeping or supposed to be sleeping. But I mix it up a lot.
and Janet, there's a publishing tools on your Facebook page where you can schedule the post. So if you're going in at 11 o'clock at night, maybe you can schedule it for the next morning once people up about like 11 a.m. Eastern time would be 8 a.m. Pacific or something like that. So it's not going out at 11 p.m. Pacific. There's a small clock on some of the pages inside of Facebook that can allow you to schedule that out. So when Wendy was talking about how she was posting like that day or day ahead, she's scheduling it in that way. So if you need help or whatever, just ask people in the Facebook group. We'll show you where it is. We'll do screenshots and stuff. Linda Nealon asks, what posts have created the most engagement for you?
So for my clients, I would have to say the top. So one thing we have to talk about as well when we talk about social media is we kind of have to talk about, I'm assuming that you have a website. Like I'm assuming that you have a personal booking platform, that you have a website that can have and we gotta talk about it, that has a blog on it. So if you can do blog posts as well that you can then post to social media. This is where you kind of get that sweet spot where everything's sort of feeding off everything else. So the most popular post that I do is I will write for a client, say I'll write like the 5 best burgers in Charleston, South Carolina, whatever. I'll write a blog post on this, just a quick blog post it to their website, and then I'll share it on social media. And those kind of posts, those sort of like in-depth detail about the best part of your particular area, those are like magic. I mean, they just take right off. People love them. They love to read them. They love to give their opinions, because it's like an opinion piece about the 5 best margaritas in Key West or anything. And people will chime in and be like, no, it's this one, it's this one. So any sort of like opinion piece about your area that's also entertaining, that you can sort of write as a blog post if you have a website, and then scoop it up into your social media. That's just magic. And I have to say, my clients generally are vacation rental managers. So they usually have between 40 and 100 properties, which is kind of where I'm coming from right now. So I know you mentioned at the beginning that this group is like a 1 to 5 kind of thing. So
I mean, we do have managers in here, but our content is focused on the 1 to 5 because we think that those are the folks that need the most help on the systems, processes, and we're seeing that with even the listing site reviews that we do on a weekly basis, and in the roundtable discussions. I mean, even some roundtable discussions, we have people with 20, 40, 60 properties in there. So we do get that. And what's great about that is that they're adding, commentary about what they've learned over all the many properties that a person who has one, like I've got one property. Like, and this is the thing I said at VRMA on the closing keynote stage. I was just like, I've got one property. I don't even know how you people are managing all these other properties. If I got all the problems I got with one property, I'm up to here already with it. Another question is, what is the most effective way to ask guests and convince your guests to like your Facebook page? Now, she said group, but I think what she means is page.
Yeah. I think it has to be part of the process, the check-in process. I know there's the check-in emails with your code or whatever. And also another thing that we find that works really well too is if we put it in, there's sort of like a welcome book that you can put in that you can just actually say, like our, like our Facebook page. Another
Yeah.
thing that sorry,
Go ahead.
a client that I have right now actually is doing this thing where they have these, so they have Alexa they have like a little Alexa in their house. So it's like a virtual concierge, and she'll actually pop up and, when they check in and be like, welcome, remember to please like us on Facebook. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that.
Wow, that's cool. That's a cool little Alexa skill. I know that Derek Eaton uses a product, a Wi-Fi product that has a gate on it. So it requires an email address, right? And you can always do a thank you page, which can redirect them right to your Facebook page. There's something I've done on my personal professional speaking website. When somebody goes to watch a webinar replay, they get the thank you page for signing up for the replay. And there's a big ad right there that says, oh, by the way, don't forget the Facebook group. Here, join us in the private, secret, super triple secret Facebook group. So you could say something and just find ways to, these thank you pages or thank you emails could be great ways. You just have to be, come up with some ingenious ideas to figure out how to map that in.
And also, and not just, you don't just want your guests to like the page, you want people that have never rented with you before to like your page as well. So the way to do that is to just be active. Don't just go on Facebook and just post and reply to your comments. Go to other businesses in your area, like their page, comment on their page all the time, like, oh my God, I love your burgers. They're the best, blah, blah, blah.
We listed you in our 5 top burger guide over on our blog.
Oh, that's a whole other thing I want to talk about. Yeah. Like
okay, we'll talk about that next. So interact with other people on their Facebook pages.
And you can go on, like, groups are huge right now on Facebook. So you can go on the group, like I have a group, I live just outside of St. Augustine, and it's like, what's going on in St. Augustine? So of course, if I was a vacation rental manager here, I'd want to get into that group. And I don't want to just push my properties. Like I said, I just want to go into that group and be helpful, and be like, hey, I'm coming to St. Augustine in 2 weeks. Does anybody have any input? And I would go in and be like, yes, I do actually. This restaurant is great. You want to check out this and blah, blah, blah. And this place is open. You need to wear a mask. And oh, by the way, check out our website, kind of thing. So you want to be active, not just on your page, but you kind of want to be out there being part of the conversation around your area as well to get your name out there.
So now let's talk about that whole thing where I jumped in there about the burger thing. How do you get them? That's a tactic, right? Is to say, oh, we just listed you in our thing. Would you feature it or whatever?
Right. Yeah. One of my favorite things, if you do have a website and a blog and you are mentioning certain businesses, one of my favorite things to get your website to really rank up there. And like, even if you have a small website, like with only 4 or 5 properties on it, you can rank pretty quick, within a matter of months, if you take a few steps. And getting backlinks to your site is the key. And what you want to do is, say you do the 3 best burgers in your area. I keep saying this one particular topic, but it's the only thing I can think of right now. So the 3 best burgers in your area, and you name these restaurants. So you want to email those restaurants and with a link to this blog and say, hey, we mentioned you in this blog page and on our social media. Would you mention us and also plug this blog page on your Facebook? And that way you're getting, it's called backlinks. So you're getting links from other sources to your website, which is like gold for Google. So it really kind of clicks you up there pretty quickly.
Wait, do that again. What's it do?
Get you up there.
Oh, that's great.
I love backlinks. Oh, they're just great.
Well, if there's so much value in backlinking, I know this isn't a conversation. This is not what we got on here to talk about, but it's an important part because it includes the whole idea here is to get more direct bookings. It's the #1 response we hear from people joining our group, right? The second.
Also, what I do want to say, you want direct bookings, #1. You also, and I know this is like opening a whole other can of worms, but I just can't talk about one thing without talking about the other. And we kind of touched on this a little earlier. direct bookings, number one, emails, number two.
Yeah.
So you want to be capturing emails, because if you can also, I know it's like a lot to think about, but do some sort of regular email campaign to captured emails, the return on email marketing and vacation rentals is insane. I think it's like, what was the last stat I saw? It was like $4 for every $1 spent or something. I mean, it was just
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, I was Constant Contact's number 3 partner in the country for many years. And it's $46 for every dollar spent back on email marketing. So if you spend $100, you get $4,600 back. Yeah, it's insane.
I mean, come on.
And
So,
that's across the board, right? That's across the board. Patricia directly asked, how can you capture emails on Facebook? Is there a way to actually do that?
I think what you want to do is, and we go back to having your own website, which is kind of the key here. So you have a link on Facebook that goes to your website. And then when people get to your website, you just want a tiny little pop-up to come up within the first 10 or 20 seconds, or as they're leaving the page, that just says, hey, give me your email address and we'll keep you updated on, deals and whatnot. You can also hold contests, do a discount contest on Facebook and say, in order to enter the contest, we need your email. There's a billion different ways to
so that's exactly what we do for our property in Fort Myers. We have a Southwest Florida beach guide that we offer, and you can only get it with your email address. And
Perfect.
here's the trick. What most people don't realize is, capture the email and then send them to the page with the guide. No, you capture the email and you use the system, the email marketing system, to deliver the guide. That way, if they put in a fake email, they don't get the guide and they have to put in a real email, because a lot of people will put in test@test.com. And I know this because I owned a digital agency for many, many years. And that's a real challenge. So yeah, I don't know if we can help with that, Janet. So here's the thing. When you get an email, it is marketing gold. And so a lot of what you do is market on social to get the email to work to the direct booking. There's a multi-step process here, right, Wendy?
Right. Yeah, and you can't talk about one without talking about the other. It's all sort of inlaid together, and it's also a good reason to outsource, because it's complicated. It's complicated, and you have to be consistent, and it's got to be something that you kind of keep up with, and it's tough to do if you're wearing a lot of hats, like we talked about. It's tough.
Yeah. What's how has social media changed in the new normal with COVID and coronavirus? Are there things that vacation rental owners and managers should be doing around that at all?
I think, for content wise, people are kind of tired of it.
Yeah.
In March and April, of course, everybody was like, I was writing COVID blog articles and about the cleaning process and the blah, blah, blah. And now I think people are, and we're seeing sort of that surge in vacation rental bookings too in certain areas, is people just kind of want to get back to, can I just go somewhere now safely with my family and have a nice vacation? So we're kind of getting back to not normal, but I'm not writing about COVID like I was in March and April. I was just writing about it constantly. It's definitely sort of getting back to, let's just highlight the houses and get back to getting some safe bookings going. So.
And are there things that you're seeing in the industry that are rising above? So for instance, I've heard things like, air travel's down, right? So we want to focus as much as we can on drive-to destinations. Well, if we're not traditionally a drive-to destination, my property isn't traditionally a drive-to because it's at the bottom of Florida. People traditionally fly there. So I've started working on trying to do more with the drive-to destination stuff, meaning segmenting my email list by people by state based on area code. Right. Are you seeing more of that discussion with your owners and managers that you work with about the types of things you can and should be doing for marketing now?
Yeah, I think the drive-to thing is the thing that I was going to say. That's the biggest thing right now in the markets that I'm in. I have clients like the biggest drive-to destinations like Palm Springs. I have Galveston, Gatlinburg, Destin, Florida. I mean, they are all just jumping right now. And then I have a couple clients in like Miami, and you know, it's not so good.
No, they
You know,
shut it
it's
down
just,
again, right?
yeah. So I don't know. It depends. I think the drive-to thing, like you said, is just the biggest thing right now. That's what people want.
So is there any way from a social media standpoint that you could target drive-to destinations versus, just traditional?
Yeah, I think just mentioning it, targeting your audiences. I know in Facebook, you can actually target specifically to your audience. So, if you were in Galveston, of course, you want your target market to be in Houston or, so just taking that 4 to 5 hour sort of radius around you and sort of targeting, particularly with Facebook and I think Pinterest, you can do a destination marketing as well. So you just want to kind of get into those 4 to 5 hour markets around your house.
Yeah.
Houses.
So how much of a commitment do these folks need to have when it comes to social media marketing? I mean, you mentioned before about kind of just staying the course, not expecting immediate results, kind of 3, 4, 5 month time frames and things like that. You mentioned before too, in your bio, and when I read that, it was like people that are forward thinking, that are the type of people that you work with, which usually means in the future, right?
Yeah.
So they're looking forward to the direct booking in the future, right?
Right. Right.
So how do you talk that client off the ledge? How do you talk the client off the ledge that says, we're doing all this social media stuff, but I'm not seeing the results, or it's not working, or we're spending all this time? How are these owners just supposed to deal with that aspect of it?
Yeah. I mean, it's not supposed to take a ton of time. I mean, I'm talking, like I said, 2 to 3 months to start seeing a return on investment. And the other thing too, is you want to, we haven't really talked about analytics. So you just want to be up on your analytics as well. Analytics can help you in the short term kind of see the traffic starting to build, even though you haven't quite gotten to, your first booking or so yet. You can kind of, the analytics of it, you can kind of see it starting to build momentum, which kind of helps in the interim. And then when you start getting your bookings, you get your first 2 or 3 bookings from Facebook, and it's like, that's amazing. Like that's what you want.
How do you know that they're from Facebook?
So part of your Google Analytics. So, and this is the thing too, this is where we get into trouble, is if you're only, this is why I say I don't like to work with vacation rental managers that only do OTAs, because it's difficult to kind of see where things are coming from with the OTAs, because you're kind of hamstringed there and seeing where stuff is coming from. If you have your own website, you have your Google Analytics built in, you can see where your traffic is coming from very easily. And you can see when somebody clicks on from Facebook, book now, and then ends up going to your website and booking, Google Analytics will show you that booking actually came from Facebook. So it'll actually backtrack and kind of show you where it organically came from. But that's only if you have your own website with a booking platform.
Right. So, and we don't have enough time to cover websites and analytics today on today's Expert Spotlight. We can certainly dig into that in the group. Wendy is a member of our group and will be happy to answer all your questions. I owned an agency for a long time. I'm happy to answer all your questions, but don't ask me to install analytics or work on your website. I don't do that. And I even have a non-compete with my agency.
I love that.
No. So ask Wendy, but get the conversation going. Janet had a question about a Google review. Those are the types of things we want to really have conversations about with all the members, because everybody has a different opinion of it. But Wendy comes from the expert side, but we also have homeowners, we also have managers, and everybody has a different opinion. No one person's opinion is right. You have to decide what's going to work for you, because again, social media, we talk about this all the time. I used to tell people, there's no right way or wrong way about how to do any of this. There's your way and my way. And none of it is perfect. We have to keep testing all the time. And oftentimes as business owners, we don't want to test things because we want immediate results. We don't want to do this thing like the Southwest Florida beach guide we did, and then no one downloaded it. So I had to change how I was doing things and get more downloads that way. Now it's it's a very popular guide, and it works really, really well to grow our email marketing list. But then we don't do follow-up emails really, really well, right? And so we're just constantly improving on that. This is an iterative process, and we have to just make sure that we're willing to make the commitment to our business, not so much to social media, but to our business, so that we improve all the time.
Right. Yeah. And, there's no, like you said, no right or wrong way, but if you're not getting bookings, you got to change something, like that's the key. Is we want bookings, number one, and emails, number two. And if you're not getting those things, it's all, they say like it's A/B testing and all that stuff. Like it's, if you're not, something is wrong if you're not getting those two things, and you need to kind of switch it up. Another thing I just want to touch upon really quickly, because this is so important, because I just had a client ask me about this the other day, is it's called bounce rate. So, and some people assume that social media isn't working because their bounce rate is really high. And what bounce rate is when somebody clicks on your link through Facebook and goes to your website, and then instead of exploring that post, they bounce off really quickly and just close your website and nothing happens. It's called a bounce rate. And about 50, 60, 70% is like a normal bounce rate. But I had a client that had 100% bounce rate from Facebook and was like, oh my God, Facebook isn't working. Like this is, we can't do this anymore. And I was like, okay, time out. Bounce rate does not mean that it's Facebook that's not working. It's actually your website that's not working. So check your photos, make sure everything's loading properly, make sure you're set up for mobile, make sure that everything's kind of loading really quickly, because if it's not loading really quickly, people are just, we have the attention span of a goldfish now, I guess. Nobody's going to sit there and wait for it to kind of buffer and for your beautiful pictures to come up. So you want to make sure that your picture resolution is the minimum amount, and you want those pictures to load really quickly. And then as soon as we fixed that, the bounce rate started going down. So I did want to just quickly mention that, because it is something that comes up when you do start getting into Google Analytics. And I
think it's important to realize too that bounce rate means they bounced off your website page. Facebook's actually working in the sense that they delivered them to the Facebook page.
Right. Don't kill the messenger.
But maybe the website didn't load, and it got a 100% bounce rate, issue. Or maybe your promise wasn't delivered, meaning
maybe the link was broken, or
you said these are the top 5 margaritas you can get in Key West, and you delivered them to the pizza page.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Maybe the link wasn't right. Yeah. So don't panic with your bounce rate. It's always something that's fixable. I know some people see that and kind of, oh, we need to stop immediately. But yeah, it's usually something that's easily fixed.
Cool. All right, cool. So yeah, I think we've hammered out all the questions. Derek Eaton's got another one here. Can you do planned holiday seasonal related posts on social media without them sounding stale, such as posts like promoting Labor Day, Thanksgiving, or Christmas? I think by the way, Wendy, he's referring to promoting, meaning promoting for bookings. Like, book for Labor Day, book for Thanksgiving, book for Columbus Day, book for Christmas,
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about like the post that you do on that day. Okay.
Yeah, like Happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah. It's like, it's hard to sound, it's just like, Merry Christmas, you got to do it. Gosh, I don't know how to answer that one, honestly. How do you sound not, what is it? How do you sound not stale?
Well, I think he's just,
Labor Day.
He's referring to the staleness of what you were saying. Like if you're only posting, 24 to 48 hours out versus scheduling it a week or 2 out,
Right. Yeah.
I think it's about how much heart you put into it, right? I mean, thinking it through and whatnot.
Yeah, it really is. And then if if you're looking at Labor Day and in June, you look at your inventory and you see like, okay, I have 2 or 3 houses that are open for Labor Day, let's start pushing those. And then that's just the houses that you focus on in June and July. Those are the 2, like we talk about the 80/20 or I call it, I don't think I've discussed this before, but I also call it the 3-1 combo. So you have 3 jabs, which is like a 3 entertaining posts. And then you have the 1 right hook, which is your house post. So if you wanted to do like 3 quick jabs about like, hey, look at all this cool stuff that's happening during Labor Day. And then on your 4th post, by the way, we have this house that's open on Labor Day as well. That
Throwing
would
a
be like
little Gary V in there, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, they probably don't know, but Jab, 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 Right Hook is a book you can read by Gary V. Talks about how you should provide free, relevant content to people 75% of the time or more, in this case, 80/20. And when I was in the web business, I was doing it 90/10. You notice how we're slightly different on that, but we're still similar in the way.
Yeah.
Again, it's not no right way or wrong way. It's what
formula is the same. Yeah. It does work. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the challenge, is that people need to dip their toe in and get this going and not worry so much about the mistakes they're going to make or how they're going to manage it. As somebody that, I work with a lot of business owners to try and course correct, right? And fix processes and systems. And we work a lot on how to get more referrals based on my book. And I'm never trying to get them to do new things. I'm just trying to get them to make slight adjustments, right? I need them to take action initially, and then from there, do course correction, right? Because that's what we want to do. It's just small course corrections. Ronnie's got a great question here. What are some of your strategies to overcome the Facebook algorithm of only showing to 10% of your followers? And how do you get it in front of them organically?
I didn't even know they only showed to 10% of their followers. That's kind of weird. I've never heard of, I'm going to be straight with you. I've never heard of that before. I think I just keep going back to the being consistent, being entertaining, being informative, and then also engaging with other accounts, which makes you more active on the platform. Facebook doesn't just want to see this sort of canned, Facebook page. They want to see this Facebook page that's sort of interacting with other accounts as well. And then getting the links back to your page from other pages, the backlinks that we talked about, it helps with that as well.
Gotcha. Cool.
And then Facebook then spend a little bit of money boosting stuff. When you do get your houses, when you do that through, that 1 right hook, boost that 1 right hook, throw 30 or 40 bucks at it, and you'll kind of be shocked at how it just sort of opens everything up and gets more eyeballs on your site and on your post.
Right. All right, cool. Well, obviously you guys can reach out to Wendy in our Facebook group, but Wendy, why don't you share your contact information with everybody who might be watching this on YouTube or on Facebook, wherever it might be, on how they can get in touch with you.
I can't believe we talked for an hour. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty close to an hour now. We're like 53 minutes past the hour, yeah. And I'm out of questions. Nobody's got any more questions.
Yeah.
But this is what happens. Hey, didn't we talk about this? This is exactly what happens with social media.
It's a rabbit hole. The best way to reach me is email. So my email is Wendy, W-E-N-D-Y, middle name Robin, R-O-B-I-N, and then my last name is Bixby, B-I-X-B-Y @gmail.com. And you can also connect with me on LinkedIn as well. It's just Wendy Bixby. You'll see me right there. And send me a message on LinkedIn as well.
Cool. Yeah, and if you're in the Vacation Rental Life group, just tag her in a post. If you got a question about social media, she'll be there right to your rescue, answer your questions. All the other group members are welcome to engage as well. I mean, as we said, there's no right or wrong. There's your way, our way. What we want to encourage you to do, both Wendy and I, is to just get out there, make more posts, try new things, get more direct bookings. If you're failing, it means you're trying things. So don't see it as a failure. Don't see it as a setback. And instead, just work harder to find small iterations that can keep you from failing. And that's what we're all here for. We're all here to help, support, and lift you up and try and break away from the OTAs at the end of the day. So thanks for joining us, Wendy, on the Expert Spotlight Series, episode 2. And until next time, we'll see you guys later in the Vacation Rental Life Group. Take care now.